Let me ask you something straight. How many times have you mistaken being good for being weak? How often have you stayed silent while someone disrespected you because you didn't want to cause a scene? How many times have you sacrificed your time, your peace, even your dignity, in the name of being kind? Kindness without boundaries is not virtue. It's surrender. It's decay masked as decency. The Stoics knew this. They didn't teach us to be passive. They taught us to be strong and merciful, but never submissive. So here's the thing. We are called to be kind, but we are not called to be used. And if you confuse the two, you don't just lose your self-respect, you hand over the reins of your life. The misconception of Stoic kindness. Now let's clear something up. Stoicism isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming clear. Seneca said, "A wise man is content with himself, yet he is a friend of mankind. He knows the value of others as well as of himself." You see the balance? He doesn't isolate. He doesn't people please. He helps, but not at the cost of his soul. Being stoic doesn't mean you don't feel. It means you're not ruled by your feelings, and that includes the impulse to please, to overextend, to bend yourself into a shape that others find convenient. Let's get real. If you're constantly trying to prove your goodness to people who take you for granted, you're not being kind. You're being controlled. Kindness is a choice, not a debt. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." That's not a call to be spineless. That's a call to be principled, to be deliberate. If someone wrongs you, you don't need to match their cruelty, but you also don't owe them access to your life. Forgiveness doesn't require re-entry. Kindness, when real, comes from a place of strength, not desperation. You don't owe kindness to those who abuse it. You offer it because you choose to, because you are anchored, grounded, capable of giving without losing yourself in the process. Epictetus put it like this: "Never say of anything, 'I lost it, but I gave it back.' That includes your time, your energy, your trust. When you give, give consciously. If you give because you're afraid to say no, you didn't give, you surrendered. Compassion without compromise. There's a reason the Stoics talked so much about self-command. Destructive emotions, anger, fear, resentment, guilt, they cloud the mind. And sometimes the most dangerous emotion masquerading as virtue is guilt. Guilt for saying no. Guilt for creating boundaries. Guilt for walking away. But here's what we forget. The boundary is the birthplace of real compassion. Because when your life is ruled by guilt, you're not being generous. You're being manipulated. Marcus didn't tolerate parasites in the Roman court. Seneca advised emperors, but he didn't bow to them. And Epictetus, born a slave, taught that true freedom comes when no one owns your will. So when someone tries to guilt you into submission, remember, that's not love, that's control. Stoicism and the lion's mercy. Here's a metaphor worth sitting with. The Stoic is the lion who chooses not to bite. But make no mistake, the lion can still bite. That's what gives its mercy meaning. A Stoic doesn't let others walk over him because he's incapable of defending himself. He chooses peace because he's strong enough to choose war and walk away. This is the key. Don't confuse restraint with inability. Don't confuse calm with consent. You can be peaceful and unbreakable at the same time. We're not here to live reactionary lives, where every insult, every betrayal pulls us off center. We're here to live with depth, with fire. To cultivate the kind of stillness that can weather storms and still say no with absolute conviction. Emotional discipline and detachment. Now let's talk about control, not over others, but over yourself. The Stoics didn't waste time trying to change the world before mastering their own minds. Their focus was internal. What is mine to govern? What emotions am I allowing to take the wheel? You're not angry because someone used you. You're angry because you let it happen, and now you resent yourself. That's the bitter truth. And here's the remedy: detach. Not from people, but from the need to be liked. Detach from the compulsion to explain yourself. Detach from the delusion that your value depends on what others think of you. Real detachment is power. It doesn't mean you don't care. It means you care about what actually matters: your character, your choices, your peace. Drawing the line with dignity. Drawing a line doesn't mean starting a fight. It means standing firm, in silence if you must. You don't need to shout to have power. You just need to know where you stand and not move. Seneca said, "He who does not prevent a wrong when he can is just as guilty as he who commits it." Let that sink in. Every time you let someone overstep, every time you say it's fine when it's not, you are complicit in your own erosion. A Stoic stands at the edge of his own limits and says, "No further." That's not cruelty, that's clarity. So be kind, be generous, be patient, but never mistake that for being available to everyone all the time. You are not a doormat, you are not a servant, you are not here to be used. And anyone who tries to twist your kindness into a weakness, they don't deserve your time, let alone your trust. Walk with compassion, but carry your spine with you. That's Stoicism. Not cold, not cruel, clear and unshakable. Because in the end, we are not defined by what we endure, but by what we refuse to tolerate. If this hit home, don't just like the video. Live it. Subscribe if you're building a mind no one can conquer. We're just getting started.